Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm the GCSE science teacher. In today's video, we're going to be learning about meiosis, which is a type of cell division for GCSE biology. If you do enjoy this video and you found it helpful, please let me know by giving the video a thumbs up. Share this with someone else so they don't miss out on key revision. And to help you with your own revision, feel free to join our community by clicking subscribe and the bell so you stay notified of new uploads from me. Thank you so much for your support. I do appreciate it. Let's get started. So meiosis, if we look at the etymology, we can see that it has a Greek origin and it comes from the word meion. Now, meion translates to make small or a lessening, and this is referring directly to this idea of cells being haploid. Haploid is a word we use at GCSE to describe cells that have half the genetic information or half the number of chromosomes. So in the case of humans, the sperm cell and the egg cell, these are our gametes, the sex cells, and they are haploid. They have half the genetic information or half the number of chromosomes, which in this case is 23 in humans. Now, this, of course, depends on the species. It can be more, it can be less. But if we look at the diploid cells, the body cells that have the full genetic information, in humans, this would be 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs. That's the difference between haploid and diploid. So meiosis essentially is a type of cell division that gives rise to those haploid cells. Now, why are those cells haploid? Well, it's because when the sperm and egg cell, when they fuse together, their nuclei join together during fertilization, this gives rise to the full set of chromosomes or that diploid cell in the embryo and therefore the baby. So that's what's going on in this case. Now, with meiosis, the cells that are produced from this process are varied. Their genetics are different, and this leads to variation or differences within the genetics, and this helps with evolution. And it's very different as a type of cell division to, say, mitosis, because mitosis is a type of cell division that gives rise to diploid cells. They are also all genetically identical because those cells are often used to replace and repair old and damaged cells. They also are used for growth of the organism as well. So two separate types of cell division. You often do get asked about comparing the two, so I would recommend making flashcards on that. I also would recommend in your revision notes to spell the word meiosis correctly. Often they are quite lenient in terms of spelling. They will often allow phonetic spelling of keywords. However, in the case of meiosis, you have to spell it correctly. So just be aware of that too. Chromosomes or 23 pairs of chromosomes if we're talking about a diploid cell, because those numbers refer to human genomes. And if we look at any other organism on Earth, you'll see that the chromosome number is varied. It depends on what you're talking about. So if we look at, say, a fruit fly, really tiny insect, this has the binomial name of Drosophila melanogaster. By the way, the binomial name is a part of the classification system. It's a Latin word that we use to help us understand this species in a bit more detail. You do need to know about binomial names for GCSE ecology. That's part of the module there. And I can make some videos on this if you would like me to. It looks way more complicated, by the way. I only know this particular one because fruit flies, nematode worms, mice, these are all used a lot in research for genetics. So these are the common models that are used. However, you could be given any kind of organism and be expected to write the binomial name, but you will be given the information. And it's actually quite easy to do when you know how. So if you would like a video on classification and Linnaeus and Darwin and all of that kind of thing for ecology, do let me know in the comment section or give this video a thumbs up and I'll make that for you guys. But if we have a look back at the fruit fly, you'll see that it has 4 chromosome pairs in its diploid body cells. Now, we can use this information of haploid and diploid to predict the number of chromosomes within the gametes of a fruit fly. All we have to do is half the number. So if we know there are 4 chromosome pairs in a diploid cell, meaning a total of 8, half of that is going to be 4 that will be found in the sperm or egg cell of a fruit fly. The same method can be applied to, say, a nematode worm like C. elegans. So 6 chromosome pairs, meaning there's 12 in the diploid cell, meaning there is 6 in the haploid cell of a C. elegans. We can do the same for mice. I'm not going to give you this one, but I'll put the answer in the description box. Comment down below, predict if we were trying to find out how many chromosomes were in the haploid cells of a mouse, how many would there be if we know diploid cells contain 20 chromosome pairs or 40? I'll leave the answer in the description box. And also, just as a bit of interest, really, I wanted to show you the largest chromosome number in an organism. It's actually part of the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's the adder's tongue fern. It has 720 chromosome pairs. And the reason I want to show you this is because often people will think the number of chromosomes is correlated to the size of the organism or the intelligence of an organism, or maybe that it's an apex predator. Now, we know that the adder's tongue fern, which is a plant, is not an apex predator. It's actually a producer if we look at it in a food chain, because it's a plant, it can photosynthesize. So what's going on here? What's the reason for this? Why does it have so many chromosomes? And one of the theories is because it is a fern, which means that it's a plant that's been on the earth for a really long time. It's been around since the dinosaurs and even possibly before that. So it has survived a whole host of changes to its environment and therefore has had the ability to evolve due to its genetics. So let's talk about the stages of meiosis. Now, the first stage is the chromosomes in the cell start to condense in preparation for replication. The parent cell's chromosomes will actually replicate next, and this helps the chromosomes have an exact copy of themselves, which is what we call a homologous chromosome. Those homologous chromosomes will actually line up next to each other, and they undergo a process called crossing over. Now, crossing over is essentially a part of the process where variation can increase. So we want to swap different bits of the chromosome that are homologous to each other to increase the differences within those genetics that we're going to have formed inside those haploid cells at the end. So this is a really good thing that happens. And after this, the chromosomes, once they've undergone a crossing over, they actually get pulled apart. So each pair gets pulled to the opposite end of the cell, which we call the poles of the cell. Now, after this, the chromosomes start to reshape into that nuclear envelope, and the cell membrane and the cell cytoplasm starts to reform again in a process called cytokinesis, where essentially the cell at the beginning looks like this, and as those chromosomes are pulled apart, we start to go through this process of cytokinesis where we have two individual cells that form. And this is our first division. Now, after this, we also have a second division where those cells that are created divide again. So we end up with four separate cells that we call daughter cells, and these are all haploid. So they have half the genetic information. They are either all sperm cells or all egg cells. And as a result of that crossing over stage, they will all be genetically different to one another. And that is a great thing because it helps with variation and evolutionary traits. And that is it from me today. I've been the GCSE science teacher and you have been curious. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, share this with someone else to help them with their own revision, and to help you with your revision, please do subscribe and join this wonderful community. Thank you so much for all of your support, by the way, the comments you guys leave, thumbsing up my videos, just general support and just kindness here on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok, whatever platform it is. You guys are always so lovely. So thank you so much. I'm really glad I can help you as well. If you've left me a DM or a comment saying that I've helped in some way with your GCSEs or your exams, or just remembering bits of information before A levels, whatever the case is, I do read all of your messages and I do appreciate every single one of you. So thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic day and I will catch you in the next one.